You're watching the Adequate Gaming channel. This is Whitaker, bringing you another Last Oasis video. Today we're going to be talking about patch notes, specifically patch 1.3.2. Now, this patch has an extreme amount of data, so we're going to go ahead and get through this as fast as possible, just to make sure that this video isn't too terribly long. Alright, so we're going to kick it off first with this, the host station. Now, officially, you can fire some of the lava fuel out of the host station and ignite it. They've got a video here on the Steam, and it was absolutely amazing. We'll go ahead and watch part of this. That looks so cool. So you can actually ignite the walkers on fire. Now, with this update comes a new addition, which is a fireproof module, which looks absolutely fantastic. So they're giving us a new way to take down walkers, while also giving us a new way to prevent that takedown from walkers. Now, I don't know if the fireproof module will prevent anything like the Hellfire bolts or the regular fire bolts or anything like that, but we're going to go ahead and test this out for you on the test server when we get the chance. Alright, we've got a bit of the art directory here. I've read through this. It's basically their design and how they set up the art for future projects. We've got the new gas mask that they've implemented here. This looks absolutely amazing. This is implemented, so let's say you're in your base and you're getting gas bombed. This gas mask will lose durability whenever you're in gas, but you will take reduced damage. I'm not sure if the damage is 0, but it did say reduced, so we'll see how well that works out on the test region. Now, as mentioned in one of the previous videos, we have the content roadmap. They were being exceptionally transparent with us and what they're going to be doing in 2020, and here it is. Alright, so most of the stuff we've seen, like the Domus Walker and the Killin Flying Reptile, as of this update, I do believe everything on this list is here. Now, the next one that they're going to be working on is the commerce, dealing with flots, food, shelter, armors, deadly weapons, and manpower. So, basically what this is, it's kind of a trade boost. They're going to be doing a lot of different revamps on the systems for trading and for what we use flots for and how important they become. And finally, we have the ancient theme, which basically sounds like they're putting a bunch of monuments, probably permanent monuments, into the game, and one of them actually sounds like a labyrinth, so something exceptionally larger to get your hands on. I'm not sure if this is going to be a secondary map or if something like the hard map will spawn these ancient ruins. And of course, with Last Oasis, there is always more to come. Alright, the next part of the post was a community spotlight for someone who built a massive arena. I think that's exceptionally cool that they're putting that in there. It looks absolutely amazing. Alright, we've got a bit of Q&A here, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the quick summary of each of them, okay? So, are there more points of interest planned? Simple answer, yes there is. They've got a lot planned for us and they're really excited about it. Alright, next point. When will we see a proper clan permissions system implemented? Short answer, they are working on it and it's going to be something that they continue to work on. They fixed a few bugs and this hasn't been put on the back burner. When are you going to implement worm and shaman content? Short answer here, the worm is actually going to be coming sometime next year, and the shaman content wasn't exactly a teaser for anything. It was something that the guys were working on as part of a video project. Do you see yourself working on this game a year from now, and do you have the proper funding to do so? Now, this one is exceptionally important. Essentially, they don't want to give any hints when the full release will be, but they plan on being in early access for at least another year, so absolutely. How often do you think there will be new content released, and what is your announcement schedule? I think we covered most of this and the roadmap for the last Oasis with the commerce and the ancient ruins. And they decided to go with a theme update, and they'll be working on those themes over the course of a few patches. Will developers show off more new upcoming content, new walkers, objects, maps, NPC, even if it's not finished yet, in the weekly or monthly dev blog to show the community what progress is being made? Quick answer is yes, but they don't want to give too much away because they kind of want to keep a little bit secretive as to not ruin the surprise for some of us. What kinds of plans are there for PvE content? Things to do to drive more organic play. PvP like dungeons or better POIs. They are working on additional systems and mechanics to make other playstyles more fun and viable inside the game and find more balance between PvE and PvP. Short answer there. Do you have one team working on bug fixing and another on content, or does the whole team focus on one thing at a time? Quick answer, there are multiple teams. Is there a limit to how much the world map will shrink if the player base keeps dwindling? Will we be reduced to a few tiles and a map so small that a few jumps can get across the entire world? Will we reduce the map size to accommodate the smaller player base? Essentially, yes, it will scale. It's really dynamic. And they can't wait to see what happens with those changes. Now, multi-tile access on private servers. Here's a good one for me. I cannot wait for this. Multi-tile access is something we're going to be adding in the future, but they don't have an estimated time of arrival right now. Okay. Can you give some insight on your balancing process and how you decide if equipment is too strong or too weak, resource cost is too high, etc.? Basically what they do is they look at how they would intended it to be played and then take a lot of community feedback to see how that turns out. So go ahead and leave comments on those forums. Let them know what you're interested in and what you think would like to be changed. They actually listen to the community. When can we delete, rename, or edit characters? They're going to be adding that ability in the near future, though they do not have a time just yet. Do you need any community given direction on what should be developed next? Though they do keep an eye on the community, they have their roadmap actually set up and will take into account the community sentiments and when shaping the near future of the stuff that they haven't actually got planned yet. Will the decline of the player base affect the development much? Are you worried about the fall of an online game? Will you develop the game if there are few players? Now this is kind of important because if the game ends up dying out, then what can they do? Are they just going to develop a dead game? Though I think there are some issues with the player base as of recent, I don't think this game is going to decline as much as others do. And being that they are in early access, it gives them quite a bit more wiggle room. Have the oceans dried up? Have they frozen? Will we ever be able to travel frozen, sunless tiles in pitch darkness? Would warm clothing be necessary? Would the ice be slippery? Would the water be too deep to dive a small walker through, or any walker if deeper? This would be a fantastic variation to an already amazing world. Absolutely. I've been talking about this with my clan for a while now, to where if you get too far to one side or the other, that you've got to deal with things like climate, like you would need warmer clothes to prevent stamina and health degradation. Or if you were to wear those warm clothes on the opposite side next to the sun and the deserts, that it would actually hinder you, and that would be an amazing dynamic to the world. And according to them, they definitely have lots of plans. We've been thinking about expanding the range of biomes we have. No exact time frame for when they'll be available, but it is added. Ass will definitely be slippery. Alright, so they've actually put some thought into this. Alright, next question. What kinds of plans are in motion to further incentivize the use of in-game economic systems? Okay, so this deals with the flots and the new commerce theme that is supposed to be releasing here shortly. Will there be a cosmetic shop for real money without putting the content behind a paywall? They want to solidify focusing the game experience before they do anything like that. Alright, would it be possible to have a new resource when a walker comes out as to prevent players from farming it prior to the walker's launch to force them to play the game and not just learn and then craft it in 5 minutes? They are floating around some ideas to make it more challenging to unlock new walkers or weapons. All right, now this is the actual update itself. Now we've read through most of the community log and the Q&A that they've got going on. The big things that I'd like to point out here is the skirmisher, rugged, and raider wings for most walkers. When flying on a wingsuit, players can no longer use their grappling hooks. This is done to prevent several grappling hook exploits. Now, I'd very much like to see this. The way I fly around is I actually release. I get out of my my wingsuit and then I grapple, so we'll see how that affects the playstyle. They added a gas mask, a head slot accessory that lowers damage from gases. We mentioned this before. Now, melee weapons. They have rebalanced the Wundane and Boulder Cut tier 5 weapons in order to differentiate from the tier 6 weapons. Alright, now Iberian weapons now require an Iberian ingots to craft. Now, we've been waiting for this for a while. Now, the new recipe is going to be a iron ingot and Iberian ore. I'm not sure if it's 1 to 2 or 2 to 1 or what comes of it, but you will need to use the Iberian ore that is all over the hard maps mixed with an iron ingot to now make the Iberian weapons. They've added a new recipe, lava fuel, crafted in the obsidian machine. They've also added a new obsidian machine that can craft lava fuel. And that's used for ammo for the host station. A few bug fixes. They adjusted lava lakes on the volcanic maps and implemented volcanic specific weathers. That seems really cool. It's probably going to be ashy, kind of like the fog that goes through. And they've added a bunch more. They're just overall polishing off the game. And that is what we are looking for. This was a massive update that they posted out. And I'm really glad to get to do this with you guys. Don't forget, the Last Oasis Community Q&A number 1 is up. It's a 20-minute video. Go ahead, go over to the Last Oasis channel, watch that out. It answers a ton more questions and goes into a bit more detail of some of the questions that have already been answered. And here shortly, we should be putting out another video for the developers dealing with stuff that we would like to be added to the game. If you guys would go ahead and post in the comment section below what you would like to have added into the game, we'll go ahead and see if we can add something that into the next video. You're watching the Adequate Gaming channel. This is Whitaker. Until next time.